Welcome, guys, to Inside Texas Football, powered by InsideTexas.com. It is Texas Homer with you right now, and I'm, of course, with Coach Williams. We do film study. So, the previous couple weeks, we've done single high defenses, cover one and cover three, and we're about to go into cover two and then later cover four. So, middle of the field open defenses now. And these are kind of the defenses people are most used to seeing, the two high safety concepts. So, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so we can keep growing. I think we're at the low sevens. We want to get to those eights. And then also use promo code IT1 to get 2 months of InsideTexas.com for only $1. So we're going into the summer months. What is it? May. So yeah, June, July. You'll be able to get through all the summer here. So, Coach, we're going to do what we usually do. Let's pull up the schematic. We'll talk about cover two, its strengths and weaknesses, so the fans can get a better feel. And then, of course, we'll go into the actual film study. So
Get it.
let's do it, man. Let's start off with the schematics. All right, Coach, we have cover two right here pulled up on the whiteboard. Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, definitely. So as you see here in cover two, you're pretty much protecting the deep shot. You're protecting against the deep shot with two high safeties, which is a free safety here and a strong safety here. Right. You have your corners who will most times, depending on what coverage they're playing, and we'll kind of go through that during film study. Cover two allows your corners to kind of play the flats from 0 to 7 yards back deep. Um, you see this kind of sinking here where he's drawing a circle at. Then you have your nickel, who's the slot, who plays over the slot. He has what we call a hook zone. He's going to drop from 0 to 7, maybe 8 yards. Sometimes he'll carry, just depending on the coverage. Or like I said, we'll talk about that in film study. Then you have your two linebackers also playing kind of hook to middle curl zone in the middle of the field there, taking away the quick game, the quick slants, the OTB routes across over the ball. Um, and then we all know we watched Tampa Bay back in the day. They made the Tampa 2 a thing, right, where this middle linebacker actually carries anything up the seam. But in your basic cover two, you see the blue circles are the weaknesses of this defense. You may see people run post or double post versus this route, or they're going to run what we call a 7 route or corner route here, or they can run a 9 route, which is a go ball down the sideline. And this window between the safety and the corner is usually open. That's where the quarterback wants to get the ball through. That's where he wants to throw the ball because that's where the weaknesses is in defense here.
Absolutely. All right, man. Let's get into the actual tape. So this is the Big 12 championship versus Oklahoma State. Now, Coach, here's the problem. This is theoretical because we bust this coverage pretty bad. But this is gonna show you where the corners cloud the flats. They stay down. They don't bail like in cover three and stuff where you see the corners immediately flying out. They don't. They'll sit there kind of at the flats. And then you'll tell us about a technique that they're actually using on this. And then you'll see the safeties, in theory, spread out and expand towards the sidelines. But, Coach, go ahead and break it down for us.
Yeah, well, as you see here, Texas is actually trying to give the illusion that they're running single high safety man coverage. With the free safety here in the middle of the field, the quarterback's looking at this. He thinking, okay, this is man coverage. He has the middle of the field closed. This is his man. This guy, this guy. So he thinks it's man coverage from the beginning of the snap, which is not, because Texas wants to disguise it. As you see, at the beginning of the snap, well, right before the snap, this safety goes, plays his half of the field, which is playing cover two. This free safety here is supposed to play this half of the field, right? He's playing the flats. This guy playing the flats. And anytime you're playing cover two or any zone coverage, like we talked about in previous films, you always want to put your hands on these guys. You don't want to give them a free release because you put so much stress on these guys in the back end. It makes it really, really hard to decipher who should I cover, who should I take, because everybody's just running free, which you don't want. Like we talked about, this guy had the hook zone, and hook zone. Pause it right here. Okay. This corner, when you play zone, most times your eyes are on the quarterback. He's looking at the quarterback because he knows from 0 to 7 yards, he has anything here to the flats here. As you see, this running back is leaking to the flats. So he has to kind of play in the middle of this guy and this guy. Same as what this corner down here is doing. He's playing middle, pretty much what we want to say trap coverage. He's covering this guy and this guy. This safety has half the field. As you see, this safety is still in the middle of the field as this guy is running the 9 route, as we call it, the go ball. He's pretty much free down the sideline, and he's still in the middle of the field when he should be here to kind of trap this guy between these two. As you see, as we talked about at the beginning of the film, the whole shot, which is a weakness of this cover 2, is wide open. The quarterback delivers the ball between these two guys. Had he been here from the beginning, this window would have been a lot smaller, right? The cornerback had to respect the flare out by the running back, which is why he didn't sink under this. But as you see, he's really not that far behind, maybe 4 yards. But if this guy was where he's supposed to be, this window is a lot smaller, like I said, in cover 2. It's already a weakness. It's already a weakness in this coverage, but they made a bigger weakness because he didn't play the technique the correct way.
All right, Coach, that was a good example of one of the vertical weaknesses down the field, but the strength of cover 2 truly is to have those 5 underneath defenders, and so you're able to stop the quick game, like you said, over the ball throws, I believe, but hitches, slants, screens, that kind of stuff. So let's look at the Iowa State offense. They're known for their quick game, and see how cover 2 helps out there.
So as you see here, Texas is giving off the look that they're playing two man or 2 cover 2, which is like we drew before. Half the field. This guy has from here 0 to 7 yards. Same here. He's giving the illusion that he's playing man because he's squared up on the receiver. But he has anything from the flats to 7 yards back. We got a hook zone. We have a hook zone. Now we're giving the illusion that we're bringing pressure, but one of these guys is going to drop. And it's going to be this defensive end here. He's going to drop and play and be an underneath defender in the zone coverage. So let's kind of run the film and see what happens. Okay, here we go. As you see, the safety is sprinting out so he can cover that half the field. This guy has his side, hook zone. As I talked about, this guy's dropping. And one thing you hear me mention a lot when watching film about zone coverage, you have to get your hands on these guys here. You can't give them a free release. Every time you give these guys a free release and you don't get pressure, somebody's going to be wide open. You have to. It's called team defense. You got to protect these guys back here. All right. I'm going to pause it right there. As you see, they have a free release here. Let this guy go free. He's sinking, but he also has to respect the flats. As you see this running back flaring out.
Yep.
This corner here has his hands on this receiver, protecting this safety, which is great. So if they are throwing, the 7 route like we talked about the corner, or he's running a go, at least he slowed him up to protect this guy. We got the linebackers here. They got their eyes on the quarterback, as you see, but this guy's running wide open. And kind of pretty much your eyes are in the wrong place. And every time we talk about zone coverage, everybody looks at the spots they should be covering, but you have to attach yourself to the guy running into your zone. So, actuality, this guy should be attaching himself to him and dropping, because zone turns into man at some point.
And this is so that's the big part too, that Iowa State really loves that quick game. But if you see in theory here, you see those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 receivers, that line are defenders. You see that line, that should stop your quick game, right? And that's why cover 2, that's its biggest strength. You're trying to slow down. You don't want the little cheap stuff, which Texas does give up a lot of.
Right.
Now, so, we don't play it perfectly here. This is kind of busty again. But if you just look at this snapshot right here, this is what you want cover 2 to look like, where you flood that middle of the field and the quick stuff does not become easy. And you have the 2 over the top safeties in case anything does slip. You'll see it doesn't perfectly go like that, but when we're talking on the chalkboard, this is kind of what we want to see.
Right. You end up with 2 guys open behind me. Every time you coach in zone defense, you always tell the guys to find work within the zone, right? You don't want to just cover grass and cover space with your eyes facing the quarterback. Find work. Attach yourself to this guy, to these guys running into your zones. So you should attach yourself to him, drop. Now, number 5, Manny Muhammad's playing this perfectly here. As he's playing trap coverage between this guy and this guy. He's playing this perfect. And this guy has his own space. So let's see how it ends up. As you see, corner almost makes a play, right? Because he's at the right spot where he needs to be. But that window is a lot smaller, and that's harder to complete that pass if this guy attaches himself to the tight end or slot receiver. and he finds work versus looking at the quarterback and just covering grass. But a big play for them, they get a first down against cover two.
All right, coach. And then the most common thing you'll hear with a middle of the field open defense is guess what? The middle of the field's open. So it's that circle between the two safeties. So let's go to the Alabama game and you can kind of show us what we mean by when that post is open, and teams will often try to exploit that. Even pre-snap, a quarterback is coached if they see two high safeties to be looking for that post.
Yeah, definitely. That's the first thing a quarterback identifies: middle field open or closed. And obviously, this is open because we're playing cover two. Talked about it again, but I'll draw it up for you guys. He has this half the field, this side of the field, 0 to 7 yards. And in this film, he's actually playing sink, so he's going to continue to sink as long as there's no threat to the flats. Same thing to this side. We have a hook zone, hook zone. As you saw on the last film, we like to show pressure, but I always end up dropping out a guy here to play the third hook zone to kind of have those 5 defenders underneath. So Alabama uses motion. We'll pause it here. As you see, this corner is sinking because he has no threat to the flats. Same with this guy sinking. He has this half the field. This safety should be make sure he's over this side of the field. But you see his hips are kind of turned inward because he's looking at the quarterback. So maybe he plans on speed turning, which is flipping his hips real quick and turning around to get his side of the field. I'm not sure. But again, like we talked about, we have a free release here, another free release, free release, free release, putting all the stress on these two back safeties. Now, we talked about the middle of the field being open. As you see, this guy is open in the middle of the field right now. All right. These guys are playing this pretty well here at the, I would say the boundary, but like we're in the middle of the field. This guy's converging playing him. Again, this guy's playing two guys, this guy and this guy, because he has to cover the flats as well. I'll pause this here.
Now we got two guys in the middle of the field. One guy throwing his hands up.
Yeah, so we got this guy's open because nobody found work. He should attach himself to him. And I get this guy's going to be open because it's middle of the field's open, so you're expecting the post route to be open. But if you have no threat, go ahead and man him up. We're playing sink coverage here, so he's trailing, and trail means play underneath the receiver because you have safety help over the top.
In theory.
In theory, right? But our safety's hips and his body is pointing towards his sideline when his hips should be open and looking at the quarterback. He should be looking this way, but he's in this way. He's looking that way. So, as you see, if the quarterback had a little more time, probably have a touchdown here. But he took the easy completion, which everybody would, and he throws across the middle because there's nobody here in the middle whatsoever.
Yep. So when you see cover two, the first thing you should think as a fan when you see cover two is watch for the middle of the field.
And there you go. First down, would end up being a touchdown, but yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about cover two seek, that trail technique where that corner is actually following that receiver and delivering him to that safety. This is an example versus TCU of where we did that really well. So the other one we saw was busty, but this one right here, Coach, show us what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, again, so I'm going to draw the cover two look, half the field. We're playing sink trail, so pretty much we're going to play the concept from high to low. A lot of times you get offenses who want to, throw some cheese out there, throw some bait out there, make you jump the flat so they can kind of throw behind you. So in this case, you have a guy run the flat, thinking, okay, you're in cover two, he'll bite, and then I'll kind of run behind you, run that 7 route, and try to expose that weakness in cover two. So I'll kind of show you guys what ends up happening. Okay. Got our flat defender, or a flat a running back running to the flats, thinking, okay, this corner is doing his job. He's not taking the cheese, right? He's sinking where he should be, right? He's going to take the high route. Pretty much, I'll let you throw this and gain 3 yards, and I'll rally and tackle, but I'm not going to give up a 15-yard pass, knowing I'd rather protect that versus that. As you see, this guy does a great job putting his hands on this receiver, protecting this safety. He's playing the half field as he should. Now, I will say, TCU happens to roll out, but he has kind of two guys open here that nobody's really covering in the zone when they should really be working this way. But our edge player does a great job, and our nickel does a great job setting the edge, making him make a quick decision.
Yep.
See, this corner is continuing to sink, ignoring the cheese or the bait here in the flats. Right, this guy has over top, and now this safety realizes he doesn't have a threat vertically. Now he's working towards the middle of the field to help this safety out on the boundary side. Now, as we talked about, when you play this correctly, this window gets a lot tighter, making this throw a lot harder to complete, right? What ends up happening? DB ends up making an interception because the window is a lot tighter. It's hard to make that throw. Picks it off, turnover, Texas ball. And that's kind of cover two sink when you play it the correct way.
All right, and so we looked at cover two zone, which is the most famous version, but also my favorite variation is cover two man. So you're going to have your underneath defenders that are manning up guys, and you'll still have two safeties over top that you could ideally double a really good outside threat or something. But this is an example of cover two man versus Oklahoma. So, Coach, teach us a little bit about cover two man.
Yeah, I really love this because Texas gives an illustration that it's cover two zone. Because Oklahoma is actually going to go in motion, and we don't follow, which makes the quarterback and everybody else think, oh, this is zone coverage, but we're actually playing man. So let me show you this here. Let's get another color up there. But cover two man, have to fill still because it's too high safety looks. Too high safety look. We have a man here, man coverage here. He has this guy. You think he has this guy. He has the running back. And pretty much this guy will be the whole defender, right? Because he doesn't have anybody to cover on this side of the field. So he kind of drops to the middle. But we're manned up across the board, and we're taking away the shallow crossers with this guy dropping to the middle. And we're playing two halves of the field. Now what ends up happening is Oklahoma goes in motion like I talked about. Now it's communicated, hey, okay, I no longer have the hole. I have to actually guard this guy. He has this guy. We're still playing our half the field, half the field. Then this bottom side here, which I'm going to rewind this just a little bit so you guys can see. Here. There has to be some communication going on. Who has who? We got three defenders. We got three defenders on three defenders. Three defenders on three receivers. 1, 2, 3, right? This guy ends up blitzing actually, and this guy actually takes his man. They kind of replace what we call replace, right? You're going to go, and I'm going to replace you. Even though he's given a look that he's going to rush the quarterback, he's actually playing man coverage. But as you see, there's no communication on who has who.
And like we learned in the man video, you see all these pick and rub routes.
Right.
So Oklahoma's trying to confuse us in man and try to bump us off the entire time.
One thing I really love about freshman corner, he has his hands on this guy, not let him get a free release. Like that's an excellent play because you're protecting this guy, right? Which is what I love. It's one thing I always talk about in every video, and I've talked about it a few times in this video as well. But I also want to go back and point out another true freshman, Anthony Hill. Watch this guy. He gets his hands on this guy and doesn't let him get a free release. I love that. Instead of letting this guy get right into his route, his hands on him, which slows him up. Now, there's a communication breakdown. This linebacker ends up taking the running back, and as you see, this linebacker takes the running back, leaving this guy open across the middle. And what ends up happening is Jahdae Barron does a great job putting his hands on this guy, slowing him up from crossing over. Now, luckily, we get pressure on Dillon Gabriel. This is a wide open first down. This corner's trailing this receiver. As you see, he has this man with his hand still on him, which is it's okay. And then he's protected by the deep safety. Now, Texas is also running what we call a switch. So anything underneath, the nickel and linebacker are going to pass off. All right. So this linebacker, who was supposed to cover this receiver, now has this guy. Now he recognizes it late, and then as you see this guy here, he's surfing, realizes, oh crap, I got to switch. So now I have this guy coming across the middle.
Yeah. And then Ford's about to get welcomed to the field right here.
But like I said, luckily, we get pressure, force Gabriel out the pocket. Even though Stoops
Yep.
is open, he doesn't get a chance to throw it to him because we.
Ford gets popped on that one,
Yeah, he
dude.
does get popped, man. I guess I can circle him. Well, he gets popped, but yeah,
It happens to the best of them.
it does. But luckily, like I said, we got pressure on the quarterback. He had to escape the pocket. He's not able to make the first down, and we rally and tackle. But that's cover 2, man.
All right, coach, that was awesome. I love film study. It's my favorite part of all the football. Recruiting is great. Watching the games are great, but going back over the film and learning the concepts, man, that's the fun stuff. That's what really makes it engaging as a fan. So I appreciate you, coach. I hope the fans learned a lot more. I know I learned some things. So make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We're climbing to 8K. It will be at 100K by probably next week then. And then use promo code IT1 to get 2 months of InsideTexas.com for only $1. So thank you guys for watching the channel. Thank you, coach, and I'll see you guys next week.